Shalom, 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 shalom. Alright, this is Naaman with the Great Millstone Camp here in DC. Alright, back for another video. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kodash. And once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations. Also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways. Alright. Serving as watchmen for our nation, all right, and also spreading the truth across four corners of this earth, aided, of course, by the many videos that are uploaded, all right, from camps, all right, literally across the world, all right. Letting the internet do the heavy load, all right. But the main thing is the truth is getting out, all right, and it's exposing, all right, these wicked elite and those that I will call familiars, all right, that are basically your ass kissers, the wannabes, all right. Yeah, and so much in this file dump that came out, and you better believe they're suppressing a lot more than they're releasing. All right. So this is a unique time, of course. We're at war with Iran. This is something that's been in the making for a long time. All right, decades. Because the big bullies over there in Western Asia, the so-called Middle East, they have America wrapped around their thumb, their pinky actually, and you're seeing now how they've done it with these files that are being released. You have some sick, twisted pieces of shit serving as your leaders, and it starts at the top. The rot is at the top and on down. Yeah. Talk about being exposed. They had to do this. He needed a distraction. I'm talking about your president, hoping that this will go away. For much the same reason as Netanyahu is doing it. These are two peas in a pod, like I said. Because they have so much against them. All right. Legally, that is. Look it up for yourself. All right. So America is going to do. In many ways, it's so close to being I want to make sure I don't misspeak here, what you would call a bloodless coup. And this is how in wickedness, how brilliant these people are. All right, I'm talking about these Israelis. These, you got to remember, this is Amalek. All right, these are the heads, all right, of the nation of Edom. These are the ones worked, yes, I have to say in past tense, all right, behind the scenes, because much of their power had depended on the secrecy and them not being exposed, whereas now, all right, they have been exposed, and you're seeing how they're reacting to that in real time. All right, so they're making mistakes. They're being hurried. All right, and this is the power of Yahweh Shah. All right, there's nothing they can do about it, even though they are trying. This is all prophecy being fulfilled. All right, this is, we'll go directly to what I just stated. Let's go to Obadiah. All right, like the elder apostle Tahar said, this is the year of people and things being exposed. All right, I think I want 7. All right. I'll start at 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Remember what I said about these organizations. A lot of their power depended on, all right, their being secret, being in the shadows. All right, it says, 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him. 8, and this is the point. Shall I not in that day, said the Most High, that's Lord in all caps, his name is Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau. So, this is what's happening. For the purposes of this video I'm about to do, this is why you're seeing this division amongst them. And as someone said, all right, when you see your enemy making mistakes, don't interrupt. All right, this is Mark 3rd chapter, happening right before your eyes to this wicked nation that we know of as America. All right, so here it is. This is, and I would hope that you would visit his site, Paul for Equality. It's Paul Lance, Lance. All right, this is just another, it says at, as his handle, but his site on YouTube is Paul Lance. All right, MAGA farmer. I didn't think my racist vote would affect me, more or less is what it's saying. All right, so here we go. I didn't think my racist vote would affect me. Oh, he's going to go in. So I'm going to let him just cook as much as I can here. Just keep in mind those scriptures I just put out there. All right. And how this place is done. These racist pieces of shit, and we've quoted LBJ about what he said about, in fact, I don't want to butcher it. Let's just get it before I go into this. Let's see. This should do it. All right, it's from goodreads.com. As soon as it loads. And here it is. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. And this is how you've been taken advantage of. All right, you have your, all right, it's because of your own racism. You've been manipulated.
Trump says, be patient. The farmer's going to be better than ever. Well, you better hurry up. Because we can't stand as much.
That was Franz Roland, a farmer here in southern Georgia. He's been farming for more than 40 years, but he said the last year has been one of the most difficult ever.
With the prices like they are today, we're not going to make any money. We just try to figure out a way to not lose so much.
He doesn't blame President Trump for the economic challenges he's facing, but he said the Trump administration hasn't helped farmers either.
We've lost our market share, our trade to China. I don't know who dropped the ball in Washington.
In 2017, dumbass, Donald Trump, the man you voted for, the adjudicated rapist, caused a trade war with China. We're only $3.1 billion in soybeans. under Joe Biden, but Biden, because, he's a radical left libtard that just murders babies and worships Satan, had one of the highest exports of soybeans. And what did you do? You, sir, saw the black woman on the ballot, and you said there was no way in God's earth I'm going to vote for a black woman. I'm going to Make America White again. That's how stupid you are. You went to the voting booth and voted and said, I don't know, I have a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist who owes E. Jean Carroll $80 million, has dinner with white supremacists, caused an insurrection, and you said, I'm a dumbass. I don't care about morality. I just care about me and maintaining whiteness. LBJ said it best. This country will vote for the most morally bankrupt white man who's literally stealing your wallet over the most qualified black man. And that's exactly what you did. You don't care about anybody but yourself. You and the entire MAGA movement are the most selfish people who have ever lived in the United States of America. It's rich. How many of you Pharisees walk around with your Make America White Again hats and you say there's no greater commandment than to love thy neighbor as thyself? Do you know what that means? Loving your neighbors more than yourself. The person...
Actually, no. They were talking about in that, all right, the Israelites, loving Israelites, even those that were, all right, Israelite foreigners that grew up in other lands. All right, it was never talking about loving heathens, someone other than of your nation.
You claim to believe is Jesus, who literally sacrificed his life for people.
Sacrificed his life for Israelites. For Israelites. All right, I see we have to address that now, because this is what you get when this wicked POS, over the centuries, they have lied. Why do you think it says in Revelation 20th chapter about the nations being deceived? Who did that? All right. So let's go to Matthew 1 and 21. It's talking about she, not she, is Mary, shall bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahushua. All right. For he shall save, that's what his name actually means, deliverer, savior. For he shall save his people from their sins. It's not for anybody else. Never was. It says his people, that's possessive. That's not inclusive of the whole world, as in the Greek word oikomene would imply, which is everyone on the planet. No, that word is cosmos. All right, in John 3:16, talking about a select group of people.
Fed hungry people. Gave medical treatment to the needy, talked about compassion, grace, and empathy, and all you voted for was me, and my farm. You didn't care about E. Jean Carroll, or the 25 women that he assaulted, or the girls on Epstein Island he molested. You didn't care about the officers on January 6th. You don't care about the women in Texas who have a 56% increased mortality rate. You don't care about the kids in schools and shopping malls and businesses that are murdered by guns. You don't care about Amber Thurman, who lost her life from not getting health care. You don't care about Adriana Smith in Georgia, who was kept on a ventilator for 4 months because, we're pro-life even though she was brain dead. And even hearing this, your little white supremacist brain cannot comprehend giving a shit about anybody but your whiteness, sir. You're what's wrong with this country. You are. I'm not even a Democrat. I want universal health care. And in this last election, I voted for Harrison Waltz because they were decent people. I voted for John McCain and Obama, a Republican. I have voted all across the aisle. But this man is a piece of shit.
Which proves, even though, he, like I said, let him go on and get it off his chest, but even he doesn't see what a lot of Jakes saw. All right. And Harris is not our people. All right. Never was, never will be. That's why they're calling her, have been calling her Cosplay Harris. All right. All right. Because she was trying to hook a lot of people, our people that have been fed this, go along with this black shit. Everybody that's dark skinned is no. That's how they slipped Obama on you. He was never our people. And that goes back to, the three sons of Noah. All right, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. We were never Hamites, the people that were brought over here. All right. Even the people that were dropped off in South America, Central America, the islands, Caribbean, and those that were here before those people were dropped off over here in the Western Hemisphere. They're Shemites. All right. So he doesn't understand that. So he just, no, she, even though she is a Shemite, I'm talking about Harris. All right. And let's just call her what she is. She's married. She's married to an Ish. All right. So she should be called by his last name. But see, that was part of the deception also, which a lot of our people, especially the women amongst our people, fell for. What do they call themselves? The 92%? Not realizing that it didn't matter, really. At the end of the day, who is sitting there? It's just this guy that's in there now had ulterior motives. All right. All this money that went behind him is because the specific people wanted him to do something for them. The issues. And you're seeing that now. This was their end goal. All right. Because it's been going on for so long. They want Iran. They want all threats to them eliminated in that region over there. Well, what they perceive as threats. All right, because they want total control. And at the end of the day, this proves them being the same people, because with this Edom, self-professed white people, which they are not, because there's no such thing. All right, we know that ultimately this is about control. So they're proving themselves one and the same by their actions. These people refuse to bow to them. Oh, we can't have that. This is worldwide. All right. That's why this whole system has to be pulled down, and it is. It's crumbling.
And so are you, sir, for voting for him. Because I guarantee you that if E. Jean Carroll was your mom or your daughter, there's no way in hell you would have voted for him. But it's not me, but I'm pro-life, but I don't give a crap about them. In this last election, when I voted, this is the kind of person that I am, sir. I voted for women's rights, and I'm not a woman. I voted for universal health care, even though I can afford my own. I voted to help people get out of college debt, even though I paid for my own. I voted for people to have an increased minimum wage, even though I don't make minimum wage. I voted for everybody else in this country, knowing as a small business owner, my taxes would go up. And you know why? Because I don't give a shit. Because I'm not a selfish prick like you. And you people call it personal freedom and don't tread on me. And that's symbolic of people like you, sir. You don't care about anybody but your damn self. You don't care about this country. You care about me, 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 me. You are an anchor, a remnant of Jim Crow, of the lost cause.
Ooh.
That's all you are. You're stuck in 1776 white America with this.
The lost cause, for some of you that are not familiar with that expression, had to do with what happened after the Civil War, when them folks tried to make themselves let me rephrase that, how they tried to make people feel sorry for them. All right, and as the saying goes, yes, the South lost the Civil War, but they won everything else. Think about it, because I grew up, and unfortunately, I think it was the Daughters of the Confederacy. I want to make sure I get that right. By and large, all right, were in charge of school curriculum. Daughters of the Confederacy. All right. The United Daughters of the Confederacy, founded in 1894, is a women's heritage organization based in Richmond, Virginia, just down from where I am, dedicated to honoring Confederate veterans, preserving history, and promoting the lost cause narrative. Members must prove direct or collateral bloodline descent from those who served in the Confederacy. All right. It says purpose and mission. The organization aims to honor ancestors, preserve and mark historical sites, monuments, and graves related to the Confederacy. They promote the lost cause interpretation of history, focusing on states' rights and Southern honor, which they like to bring that up. Well, it was states' rights, but it still revolved around slavery, which was its core point. All right? But they try to get away from that. Yeah. It says controversy and legacy. The UDC was instrumental in erecting numerous Confederate monuments, especially during the Jim Crow era, which are now often contested for their role in promoting white supremacist narratives and minimizing the role of slavery in the Civil War. Now, this guy he's talking about in this video, the farmer that you saw that was interviewed, he's from southern Georgia. All right. The current status, the organization continues to operate with thousands of members across several chapters, primarily in the South, focusing on historical preservation and educational programs. All right. It gives you the founding. It's founded in Nashville, Tennessee. Doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Yeah.
This version of American exceptionalism, sir. How many times have you talked about Black history? Do you celebrate Black History Month? Do you talk about slavery, Jim Crow? Genocide of Native Americans, the Middle Passage? I bet you don't talk about any of that, but you'll talk about your goddamn gun every day. You'll talk about how we're the best of the best of the best. Because that's what it was about, sir. You wanted to maintain the lie of white American exceptionalism, and you would rather burn this country to the ground. You would rather suffer under the hands of a white man than thrive under a black woman. And your dumb ass is like, oh, I don't blame Trump, but I don't know where the government went wrong. Gee, I don't know, sir. Maybe the guy with 3 failed marriages. Maybe the guy with 6 bankruptcies. Maybe the guy that added $8 trillion to the debt. Maybe the guy you voted for that added $1 trillion to the debt the last 2 months. I don't know, sir. Maybe the guy's just a shitty businessman. Just maybe. But you're so stupid that you can't see outside of your own ignorance and racism and white supremacy and misogyny.
With the emphasis on shit.
And I'll leave you with this question, Karen. Why don't you go ask yourself, in 250 years as a country, half of our country are women? Why don't you go ask yourself, why have we never elected a woman? Why did this country, 77 million, vote for this vile, disgusting human being who calls women fat and ugly, who sexually assaults them, who molests little girls? and cheats on every wife and hires people like Pete Hegseth, who cheats on their wives and has women out of wedlock and sexually assaults women, over the black woman? Why don't you go ask yourself that, sir, and have a little bit in your shitty life, a little bit of self-reflection, and maybe, just maybe, sir, one day you'll figure out that you're the problem with this country. Have a white day.
Yeah. See, it's they're not going to listen to what we as a people have to say about, you know, the self-same things, even though we're the ones ultimately more affected or had been. All right. Nah, they just disregard all that. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and all that other shit. All right. Choosing to ignore the outside influences on us that have always been on us. All right. So this is why more and more you're getting videos like this. All right. And even though this guy seems to be Paul Lance here, you know, he's got his own thing going. He's not really dependent on the same things as the farmers were, as far as government aid and that sort of thing. But he sees, because he's one of them, all right, what's really going on, things that they choose to ignore. And he's telling them, this is your fault. And he's absolutely right. All right. But damn, it's good to see this. I'm going to be making more videos because there's a whole lot more with him, you know. This is just a site I just stumbled up on. And this video here is like a month old. So it's much more material to work with, especially of late. All right, so with that, once again, I hope getting this site has been at Paul for Equality. His actual site is Paul Lance. All right, and it says MAGA farmer. I didn't think my racist vote would affect me. Like the scriptures say about the snares and traps that were set for us, they're all going to fall back on him. That's Psalms 7 and 15 and 16, Psalms 9, around 15 and 16, you know, and there's so many more about all this coming back on their own heads. You don't, you know, even Obadiah, which I didn't go further enough down into, but it tells you why these things are happening to them. All right? It's what you did to the actual Israelites. All right? So with that, once again, I'd like to encourage you to remain circumspect out here. Keep your eyes and ears open, especially now. All right? As this goes on, you're going to see why, or at least hopefully you will. All right, don't get caught out there. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.